Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca, and thank you for joining me for this gentle yoga class for the shoulders and hips. In this class, we will be using slow, focused movements to explore the range of motion of the shoulders and hips, and also to investigate the interconnected nature of all that lies between these four corners of the torso. I recommend a yoga strap or a towel for this practice and maybe a couple of blocks or books if you have them handy. So take a few minutes, gather what you need, and I'll see you on the mat.
We're just going to start off by just bringing ourselves here. So find a way of sitting here that's comfortable for you, maybe on the edge of a blanket or up on a block. And just stack your spine up nice and straight. And then just bring your focus to your breath. And just begin to slow it down. Just becoming aware. Maybe taking a moment to just listen to the house sounds around you. See if you can shift your attention for just a moment into those sounds. And see if you can pick apart the layers of sound. Sounds that are far away from you, ones that are a little closer, and then the ones that are very close by, maybe even inside your own body. Now begin to focus on the sound of your breath. Perhaps beginning to make that ujjayi breath, that warming breath that we can hear in the back of our throats. And as you bring your focus into that breath, begin to make some small, gentle movement with your body that expresses that breath. Maybe inhaling the shoulders up to the ears, maybe one shoulder at a time, or maybe just gently rocking forward and back with the breath. Remembering you don't have to take any of those suggestions, just feeling into your own body here, your own existence, and how it wants to express this breath. And then allow that to come to stillness. We'll inhale the shoulders onto the back now, allowing the collarbones to be spread far apart from each other as we open the chest. Exhaling fully, and then leaning forward as we inhale, only as far forward as feels comfortable for you. And then as you exhale, begin to lean back into the side body, eventually leaning back into the spine, maybe pulling back on the knees slightly, and then leaning into the other side body as you begin to inhale. So now we're describing a circle, inhaling forward, exhaling as we circle backwards. And don't worry about what you think you should look like here. If any questions come into your mind about whether or not you're doing this simple motion right, just let those go. We're just feeling into the body here. And maybe the way that you're sitting needs to change, maybe not. Give yourself permission. And then change directions. And then after your next exhale, we'll come to stillness. And just allow that spine to straighten back up. You can allow your eyelids to flutter open here if you haven't already. We're going to grab that strap or a dish towel if you have that handy. If you have a strap, you want to fold your strap in fourths so that it's kind of short. And otherwise, if you're using just a towel, the idea here is to hold onto the towel, allowing it to be taut in between your hands and allowing your hands to just be at shoulder width apart. So just take a look there and see if you're describing a nice straight line from your shoulders all the way down through the back of your hand in between those those two middle knuckles, not the first two, the middle knuckles. And I'll just allow that dish towel or strap to be out in front here. We're pulling it apart slightly. And then as we're inhaling, we'll just inhale up overhead. And exhale, releasing down, pulling those shoulders back, keeping the collarbones nice and wide here. Inhaling up. No need to go very far back here, just to the level of the ears, maybe slightly farther back, exhaling down. And so just continue to move here with your breath. Engaging your abdominals, pulling those into the back body, giving yourself a nice, firm foundation and core here. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms down. And then we'll inhale to the top. One more time. And once you've found your way there, allow yourself to lean over to one side, using this strap to keep your shoulders in alignment. And so here we're grounding down through the opposite hip, feeling that length, that separation that happens between the rib and the top of the pelvis and side body. And if you find yourself with your upper shoulder falling forward just a bit, see if you can draw it back, just any amount. Inhale back to center, and then exhale, coming into that side stretch on the other side. Pulling that top shoulder back any amount. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, give those arms a rest. Take a couple of shoulder rolls or any motion that feels good here. And then we'll inhale the arms back up overhead. And this time we're going to use the left hand, drawing down and over to the side like we're going into that side stretch movement, and then allowing the body to come forward, moving very slowly here, feeling how the stretch moves through the side body, then into the upper back. And then as we come back up the other side, feeling the other side body, inhaling all the way back up to our seated position. Taking this again to that same side, allowing that left hand to guide us, then the right shoulder to begin to come forward. And then coming up the other side. Exhale, allowing the arms to come down. Deep breath. And then inhaling the arms up overhead. One more time. Now taking this circle in the opposite direction, coming into that little side bend towards the right, and then allowing that left shoulder to circle around. Moving with the breath, inhaling up the other side. And one more time, exhaling over to the right, circling around, and inhaling back up to center, exhaling, letting those hands come down in front of you. You can get rid of that strap now, and just feeling the benefits of that stretch and strengthening motion for the shoulders and the side body. And now just allow those elbows to become nice and heavy here. Maybe seeing if you can tune into any sensations in the shoulders or upper arms. And then taking a nice big inhale here, we'll just allow the head to drop over towards the left shoulder. Just creating space now between the shoulder and the ear. We've worked some of these muscles, so now just stretching them out a bit. Inhaling the head back to center, and then exhaling, dropping to the other side. Allowing that left elbow to be nice and heavy. And then inhaling back to center. We are going to take the left leg now, and we're just going to curl that leg around behind us. So now the left shin is resting in the curve of the right foot. You want to try to see if you can allow this left hip to descend here. If you have a large gap and you have a pillow or a block, you can put that pillow or block underneath. Otherwise, just see if you can adjust yourself so that that hip is moving down towards the floor. And then from here, we'll inhale the arms up overhead, and then we're going to drop over to this left side. And you can take the right hand to the top of the left knee, fingertips around behind. Nice inhale, straight spine. And if you like the stability of keeping those fingers on the floor, you can do that. If you'd like to experiment with a bind here, you can bring that back hand around so that the back of the fingers are on the opposite side body behind you. Maybe even reaching through and reaching for the elbow of the other hand or the other arm. Bharadvajasana, Bharadvajasana, or Bob Asana. And then we'll inhale just to allow that to unwind. You can bring the soles of the feet in front of you, knees to the chest, rounding the shoulders and back here if that feels good for you. And then we'll just use that shape to transition to the other side, so bringing the legs around in the other direction. Take a moment to adjust yourself, this time dropping that right hip down. And then inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhaling as we come into the twist, dropping this time the right hand behind us. Left arm comes across the body. I'm just choosing here if you would like to keep the fingertips on the floor or experiment with that bind. Might not be the same as the other side. Inhaling to grow tall. Exhaling into the twist. And then inhale back to center. You can bring those knees back into the chest briefly if you like that little stretch for the back here. And then we'll move the legs out of the way and come into our tabletop pose. So just find your way here, stacking those joints. And you can press the tops of the feet into the floor or, curl the toes under. And just do a little bit of cat-cow here or any other motion that feels good. Waking up that spine. Inhaling in that fresh new morning air. Exhaling out anything we need to let go of. And then bringing that to stillness. Walk the hands, a couple of handprints out in front. Turn those toes under in the back and come up into downward dog. Knees are plentifully bent here, graciously bent. Giving our bodies time to wake up, stretch out. Walking the dog here if you like, or playing with, whether you like to inhale up to the toes and allow the heels to drop down. Just finding a little of your own movement here. Maybe you even rock side to side slightly. And then wherever you are, just bringing that motion to stillness, bending the knees deeply, moving the belly towards the thighs. And from here, we're going to inhale forward into plank or half plank. And then just allow the hips to continue to sink forward, coming to the tops of the feet here and moving very slowly into this back bend, moving the hips only as far forward as your back feels like taking today, this morning. We'll take a nice big inhale here, and then as we're exhaling, shift back to child's pose. Moving here with your breath, inhaling back up, allowing those hips to sink forward only as far forward as feels good for you. Exhaling, shifting the hips back. And continuing with this motion, inhaling, hips come forward. Good. Exhaling, hips shift back. Inhaling, hips forward. And exhaling, hips back. And then here from your child's pose, we'll inhale to come up, roll the toes under and come back into downward dog. Taking the gaze forward now, we'll walk slowly up to the top of the mat, coming into our first forward fold. And just allowing gravity a few moments to do the work here, draping that upper body over the legs, allowing the knees to be just as bent as they need to be for your fingertips to reach the floor, or maybe even bringing the floor to you with a block. And if it feels good to take a ragdoll here or walk the fingertips from side to side, or just to remain still for a moment. And then we'll bend both knees gently, taking the hands over each bent knee, and inhale up to stand with a flat back. Hands come to meet overhead and come down to heart center. Take just a moment here to roll the shoulders onto the back, opening the chest, broadening the heart to whatever is being welcomed into your day today. And then we'll allow the fingertips to come down, inhaling to sweep the arms up overhead, exhaling, hands come down to the heart center, and exhaling all the way down into forward fold. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale, releasing into the fold. And then nice big deep breath, inhaling up all the way. Hands come to meet overhead. Exhale, hands coming down through heart center all the way down. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale to release. Inhaling to come all the way up to stand. And coming through this quarter series again, exhaling, hands come down through the face, all the way down into forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale into the fold. Inhaling to come up to stand. And one more time here, hands come to meet overhead, bringing the hands all the way down through heart center, exhaling all the way into your forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, release. And inhale all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands come to heart center. And just a word of advice, if you're ever going to do yoga in front of a cactus, make sure you're far enough away from the cactus. All right, inhaling the arms up overhead. We'll allow the hands to come together, exhaling all the way down through heart center. This time, planting both hands, stepping back into our downward facing dog. So allow yourself to really press out of the mat here. Spine is nice and straight, rolling that tailbone up towards the ceiling. And then from here, we'll bring the big toes together, grounding down through the right heel as we lift the left leg from the mat. Bending the left knee now will allow that left hip to stack right over the right. And then imagine that you can see your body from the outside. Visualize a nice straight spine, hips stacked on top of each other, and shoulders level. So if that left shoulder is trying to follow that left hip, allow it to drop down towards the mat. Inhaling now, we'll extend that left leg, squaring the hips back down towards the mat. And exhale as we bring the left knee through, coming into a lunge on the left side. So stacking that knee right over the ankle, dropping the hips forward. And then we'll drop the right knee to the mat, allowing the top of the right foot to come to the mat as well. And using one hand and then the other, allow ourselves to come up into this crescent shape. Shoulders sinking down the back. Pulling the thighs into this imaginary center line, allowing that left hip to come back, right hip coming forward, and staying right here with your hands supported on your knee if you like, or inhaling, arms up overhead. Maybe even coming to cactus arms if you'd like to open the chest. Inhaling, arms back up overhead. And then everyone exhaling, fingertips to the floor. And then we'll draw this left hip back, allowing the fingertips to walk back, coming into a little modified splits pose here. And playing with the alignment of the hips here. See if you can really draw that left hip back, allowing that right hip to come forward just slightly. And yes, it will deepen that sensation in the back of the left leg. We'll inhale now to roll forward back into our crescent lunge shape. And we're going to allow the hands to come to the inside of the left leg here. We're going to walk that left foot out to the wide edge of the mat. And we're going to come into lizard pose here. So you have a few variations that you can choose from. One is to stay right here, supported up on your hands. If you need to create a little extra space for your body, you can move that left knee away from the body a bit, opening up through that hip. And if you like, you can drop down to the forearms, either on the floor or on a block. So just take a moment here to figure out where your body wants to go with this today. And continuing to pull back through that left hip, forward with the right hip. Few deep breaths. And then inhaling to press yourself back up. If you're using a block, you can move that out of the way. We'll walk that left foot back in between the hands, coming back into our crescent shape. And then we're going to plant the hands and allow that foot to continue to walk over to the front side of the mat. So we're going to come down to sit on the left hip and turn ourselves toward the front of the mat. So you'll end up seated with this left leg in front of you, right leg extended out long. And we'll bring the left sole of the foot to the inside of the right thigh. And then from here, we're turning the body towards this right knee. So the belly button is coming towards that knee of the extended leg. And if you like to use your strap or towel here, you can take that strap or towel around the ball of your foot. If not, you can just inhale the arms up overhead. And then we'll just exhale here with a flat back, coming into Janu Shirshasana on this side. Continuing to move the shoulder blades towards each other, letting the back of the neck be loose. And then inhaling to allow this pose to release. You can move that strap out of the way if you use that. And we're going to turn back towards the left leg here, bringing the left leg so that the shin is relatively parallel to the top of the mat, and bring that right leg around behind, using this as a transition into our pigeon pose. So find your way around here, and remember that you can always support that hip with a block if that feels more stable for your practice. Checking in with that back leg now, making sure it's extended out nice and long, and then squaring the hips here and dropping forward into our sleeping pigeon. And allow the head to hang here or be relaxed in some way, either on the floor or on the support of your stacked hands. Just allow yourself to be as relaxed as you can be, breathing into that left hip. And the nice deep cleansing breath here, inhaling all the way up to the top, exhaling perhaps through an open mouth. And then we'll inhale back up to fingertips or palms, rolling the toes under in the back, shifting the hips up, downward facing dog. Just reflecting on the sensation here of the blood coming back into that left hip. Maybe pedaling it out just a little. And then walking the big toes together once again. We'll inhale up through the right heel this time, opening that right hip up, stacking it on top of the left. Once again, seeing our bodies from the outside, stacking the hips, squaring the shoulders. And then inhaling to extend that right leg, hips coming back parallel to the floor. Exhaling, bringing the right leg through, coming into our lunge on this other side. Exhaling, shifting the hips forward. And then dropping the left knee to the mat here, coming into our crescent lunge shape. And using one hand and then the other, gently bringing the body upright. Peeling this right hip back, left hip forward, and inhaling the arms up overhead if you like. Maybe coming into cactus arms. Inhaling the arms back up overhead. Exhaling, allowing those fingertips to rain down. Shifting the hips back. Coming into our half split. Peeling that right hip back now. Bringing the left hip forward slightly, just deepening that sensation in the hamstring. Coming back to the breath. Inhaling to come forward and planting the hands on the inside of this right foot, allowing the right foot to walk out to the outside of the mat. Maybe those right toes even spill off the mat a little here. And just taking some time to check in with your body. Maybe coming down to forearms, maybe staying elevated. Creating a little space for yourself if you need to open the knee out to the side. And coming back to the breath. One last breath here. And then inhaling to come back up if you chose to come to forearms. Move that block out of the way. And we'll heel toe that right foot all the way to the other side of the mat, coming down to rest on the right hip this time. Left leg extended out. I'll turn forward so you can see me. So left leg is now extended out in front. Right sole of the foot, the inside of the left thigh. Turning the belly button towards this left knee. And then finding your way into your Janu Shirshasana. Just allowing yourself to breathe deeply and relax into this sensation. And inhaling to allow that to release. You'll be turning back toward the right leg so that the right leg comes in front for our pigeon. Extending the left leg long out behind. And if you need a block or a pillow, bringing that underneath that right hip. And then squaring the hips here, pulling that left hip forward, right hip back. Find your way down into your sleeping pigeon.
And then a nice deep cleansing breath here, inhaling all the way to the top. Exhaling through an open mouth. Inhaling back up to palms or fingertips. Rolling the toes under in the back and shifting that right leg back, coming into downward dog. Maybe pedaling it out here or finding some other movement that appeals to you. Shifting the gaze forward, we'll walk the feet up to the top of the mat. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling up to stand. Bringing hands to heart center. Taking a nice deep breath. And then we're going to step into a wide leg stance here. So all 10 toes coming forward, shoulders coming onto the back. We'll bring the hands to the hip crease here. Inhaling those shoulders back, chest nice and open wide. Exhaling, allowing the chest to sink forward, coming into our wide leg forward fold. From here, we'll allow the right hand to walk over to the left shin. I feel like you can plant that right hand right in front of the face. Inhaling up through the left arm, coming into a twist, relaxing the head and neck. Allowing the left fingertips to come down. We'll switch sides here, reaching over to the other side. Inhaling the other arm up. Keeping a nice soft bend in the knees. Exhaling, allowing those fingertips to sweep down. We'll inhale up halfway. Heel toe, those feet in towards each other. Coming back to shoulder width distance. And then inhale up to stand. Hands coming to heart center. Going to come into a thigh stretch now. So grounding down through that right foot. We'll allow the left heel to come up from the floor. And find our way into a thigh stretch. No need to struggle here if you have a wall or a piece of furniture handy. Come there and use that for balance. Trying to drop that left knee parallel with the right. Pulling in through the belly muscles, deepening that stretch in the front of the leg. And then when you're ready, releasing this slowly and with control. And coming back to the other side, grounding down through that left foot now. Right heel floats up from the floor. Knees coming to parallel. Maybe inhaling that left arm up overhead. Give yourself a little smile. And then slowly with control, allowing that to release. We'll step back out wide here. Coming back, hands to the hip crease. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. And this time, really just allow yourself to relax here at the bottom. So just let your hands fall wherever they want to fall. Maybe see if your legs are ready to walk out just a little more. Maybe you rest the crown of your head on the floor, maybe on a block. Maybe you're nowhere close to that, and that's fine too. And then placing the hands in front of the face, we'll inhale up halfway and we'll heel toe those feet back in until they're just outside of hip width apart. So yeah, you know where we're going here. We're going into our squat. So if you need a block or a blanket for your squat, you might want to put one blanket under the heels or get a block for your sacrum. And then on our next exhale, we'll allow the hips to sink down. Elbows come to the insides of the knees. Pressing the knees into the elbows, elbows into the knees. And just breathe and allow this pose to open you. And one more breath here. And then allow yourself to shift forward, placing the hands on the floor. And then come into seated in any way that works for your body. And once you've found your way to a seated position, we'll take the hands to the backs of the thighs here. We're going to allow the knees to bend, shoulders to come onto the back. And we're going to come into boat pose here, your version of boat pose. So you might be starting here, heels on the floor, hands behind the knees, or maybe lifting the heels. Maybe you experiment with allowing the palms to extend, maybe one leg, maybe both legs, just finding your boat here. The most important thing though, being this angle of the back. Good. I see lots of different boats out there. That's perfect. And then allowing that to relax. We'll come forward again, hugging the knees as we did at the very beginning. And then finding our boats once more. Shoulders coming onto the back, nice straight spine. Smile, remember you're having fun. And then when you're ready, allow your boat to release. Hands around the knees. And then shifting forward, we'll come to rest on the back. Bringing the knees into the chest. Finding some movement here that feels good on the spine. And then we'll allow the soles of the feet to find the floor. Get our strap or towel again, if you have one handy. And we'll bring that right knee into the chest as we wrap the strap around the ball of the right foot. Allow your shoulders to be nice and relaxed here. Arms are heavy on the straps. And then we're going to allow that left leg to extend out long. So you might not need to do much here in terms of pulling forward on this right leg, just extending that left leg out long along the floor, maybe plenty to bring in the level of sensation that you need. And if for some reason extending that left leg doesn't work, just keep that left foot on the floor. Couple of breaths here. Inhale to release slightly. Exhale to deepen. And then taking both of the straps into the right hand will allow the left hand either to come down to the left hip or to extend out long to the left. We're encouraging this left hip to stay down on the floor as we're exhaling and opening the right leg out to the side. If you don't have a strap, if you can reach your big toe, you can do this with your peace fingers around your big toe, or you can bend the knee, holding onto the knee as you open to the side, or your shin or your pant leg. And then when you're ready, inhaling that right leg back up overhead. We'll allow the left sole of the foot to find the floor. Allow the right outside of the foot to find the top of that left thigh. And then just briefly coming into a supine pigeon here. So maybe interlacing the fingers behind the left thigh or on top of the left shin. And we've already done pigeon today, so not spending very much time here. One more deep breath. And then as we're exhaling, allowing that left sole of the foot to find the floor, followed by the right. And then we'll extend that left foot up overhead with our strap. And once you have found your grip on the strap and your shoulders are relaxed, just extend that right leg out long. Picking the cactus tines out of my fingers. Shoulders nice and relaxed. We're keeping that right foot bright, so pulling the right toes back towards the face. And then taking both of the straps in the left hand and bringing that right hand to the hip or out long along the floor. We'll allow that left leg to open out to the side. And then inhaling that left leg back up overhead. Right sole of the foot finds the floor. Coming into our supine pigeon on this side. And taking a breath together here. Inhaling. And then exhaling, right sole of the foot finds the floor, followed by the left. We'll bring both knees into the chest here. And then opening the arms out wide, allow the knees to fall over to either side, taking your gaze over the opposite shoulder. Inhaling the knees back to the chest. Exhaling, dropping over to the other side. And inhaling the knees back to the chest, allowing the knees to separate. We'll reach through and grab the big toes or the outsides of the feet, coming into happy baby. Finding a little motion here if you like. Really allowing the shoulders to be heavy and relaxed here, using the weight of the arms. Open the hips. And then allowing the soles of the feet to find each other. We'll extend out long into our Shavasana. So if you need something to make yourself more comfortable here, if it's chilly in your space, maybe you get a blanket, something to support your head. Really just take care of yourself here. Allow yourself to relax. And we'll take just a few moments in silence here to experience the benefits of today's practice. Take a moment to stretch your arms out overhead. Maybe gently rolling to one side. And then gently press yourself back up to a seated position. Keep your eyes closed or your gaze lowered. Bringing your hands to heart center. And I chose a Chinese proverb to close our class today. I thought this was particularly apropos after our experience in 2020. And it says, "You can only go halfway into the darkest forest. Then you're coming out the other side." So here's to coming out the other side in 2021. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for joining me for this practice, and may your yoga follow you off the mat.